Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges. What's a good name for the camel? And the answer was Humphrey. I thought that was so cool. Well, here's hoping that you have made it halfway through the week and you're excited about the weekend and that you are having a wonderful evening. This is Swym. Say what you mean. And tonight we're going to be talking about peace and confusion, as well as the ego. If you have noticed, there's a new intro, and should have music playing in the background right now. So I'm just gonna let it ride out a little bit because I haven't worked my engineering skills well enough, but I can see that I have levels and that funky music should be playing in the background. And in just a few moments, I'm going to come on the camera and greet you personally. But until that time, I think the music is gone now. Let's see if I can come to you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Swym. Say what you mean. This is the pool party. I'm Travis Bridges, and welcome to the swimming pool. About a minute before I was going on the air, like a few minutes ago, the power just went and went out. And I wasn't sure what was going on. It was completely dark. And, of course, I sat here for a few moments. It's like, there's no need to panic. Why would you panic? It's just power. It happens. Just so happened, it happened about a minute and a half before you were supposed to hit that live button. So, of course, I unplugged myself here, and I went to look out into the street, and all the other street lights were out. So I called some nearby neighbors, and no one answered. I'm thinking, well, let's see how this is going to work out. So I just sat here for a few minutes and kept my composure and looked at more of what I was going to talk about. And what do you know? The power came right back on, and here I am. Ow! I've been kind of out of it for like the last couple of weeks too, just kind of wiring things up on this side of town. It's been kind of tough, but I've been getting it. I have a couple of guests that I'm going to go to tonight, and I believe I'm making some progress here with this Swym situation. This started over a year ago now, and I had no idea that I would be in the position that I'm in, actually doing what I'm doing. And it's kind of sort of working itself out in that I got this little inkling in my soul. I like to use the term a bee in my bonnet. I got that from a friend a few years ago. It's an old country tune, country slang rather, which kind of sort of means like you have an inkling, down in your soul where, you are moved to do something. And throughout my experience in life, I've concluded that we are born with peace, and I believe that. One of my favorite books simply says that we are not given the spirit of fear or confusion, but of a sound mind. And if we have that clearly, when we have confusion, we pick that up from an outside source, some type of energy in some kind of way. And I am convinced that most of the times when we have disagreements or misunderstandings, it's a result of communicating and talking. And I am convinced that if we would find our way to communicating and talking, listening, hearing, paying attention to what someone is saying, and being open to getting to the bottom of the truth, that we can resolve most of the problems that we have. However, that doesn't happen because for some reason or the other, although we are adults and we're intelligent, that childlike attitude sort of takes over sometimes. And if we don't like something, or if we're not happy with a turnout, then we do what the old folks would say, we show our hiney if we don't like something. And that's cool. There's a saying that goes by, the strong should bear the infirmities of the weak. So sometimes when you find that someone is weak in a certain area, we want to be their friend or family member or co-worker. And as Michelle Obama would say, when they go low, we go high. So when you find someone kind of sort of misjudging a situation and you can keep your scruples about you, why not just touch them on the shoulder like this and say, hey, buddy, hey, listen, let's sit down and let's talk about this. And then if you can't find a way to talk about it with that person, go get another friend, maybe somebody they trust, and say, hey, listen, can you mediate for us? And we need to talk about this because it's not cool. There's no reason to be upset, mean, and all ugly about the face when we are naturally born and with peace. Our Creator, from what I understand, is love. And that, if we're created in that image, which I just so happen to believe that, we have that same love and peace within us. So there's no reason why we should go about our ways, all mad or upset or not at peace in a situation. So that's why I'm here. For some reason, I think that I have developed, or I'm still developing, the ability to communicate and analyze and examine situations without putting so much of my emotions, in discovering the truth. No, I'm not an expert. No, I'm not, I haven't mastered it. I still have, to check myself sometimes. And I hope that I have friends and people around me that will say, hey, buddy, maybe you need to check this out. And I'm always open to listen because in spite of what I really want sometimes, I think I'm okay with being okay with what is. We can't always get what you want. There's a song that goes like this. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Oh, yeah. Well, so you have to be open into getting what you need. So with that being said, I'm going to attempt my first caller and see how that works out. Come on now, let's see. I said I was going to be a little faster with this, And I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense why it doesn't work like it should. So why don't I? Oh man, what's going on? Let me get some music for you. While I figure this out, why don't I cancel that? Oh, here we go. And yeah, there we go. I think I'm going to get a caller in just a second here. And we're going to talk about peace. Ooh, am I not getting this?
Oh,
Hey,
hey,
how you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Thank you so much for answering and being there for me. Did you watch the beginning of the live stream?
I did.
Did you
I
hear?
liked your new intro.
That's kind of cool, right? I've been
Yep.
kind of waiting to do that for a long time, and finally I was able to put some stuff together yesterday and today, and voila, I've got an intro.
Yeah,
I kind of
that's
feel like
nice.
I'm in the old radio days now of when I used to do radio. Now all I need to do is get a nice closing and some sponsors and maybe even some commercials to take a break. But it's underway. You know, I knew when I started this that it was going to be skeletal in the beginning, and I had to put some meat on it. So getting used to being in front of the camera is something that I'm okay with. I was never really shy, and I really didn't care if I made a mistake. As one of my topics a couple of weeks ago was, if we learn from our mistakes, why are we so afraid to make them? Well, I'm not afraid to make a mistake, because those mistakes and those hiccups got me to a better place. And I believe with the time, I will be able to make a contribution to the world of the internet. Like so many, I have so many radio and internet idols, so many people that I respect and admire for what it is that they're doing. And everybody has their own little niche. You know, some people, one of my favorites, call himself, you know, the king of controversy. And everybody has their little piece of the pie. So I'm just going to nibble on mine for right now. Anyway, the topic is peace and confusion. What is peace and confusion to you, if you don't mind?
Well, peace is having, is lack of confusion.
That's a good
Peace
answer.
is
That's safe.
feeling, um, peace is a state of mind where you are comfortable and feeling well about things, and there is no confusion in your mind at that point.
Can you
And
believe?
confusion is
Oh no, go ahead.
Not having understanding, not having knowledge, not knowing where you are at a given time, not knowing what's going on.
Do you believe that peace is possible? Do you believe that we are naturally born with peace? Do you believe it's even possible to obtain peace?
Yes.
Why do you think there's so much confusion and chaos in society then? Why do you think there is?
I think a lot of it is people live with the idea that they've got to have everything a certain way. They don't. Living in the moment, it brings peace, because you're not anxious about what's happening next or what has happened or what is going on. You're living in that moment, and the things in that moment are what it is the only thing that's affecting you, and you can have peace with that. And I think that people just, strive to live beyond their means. They strive to keep up with other people. They worry about what other people are thinking about them and how they're being perceived.
Guilty.
They have, a lot of it is that their ego gets in their way, and they allow their ego to, make them not be at peace and make them work towards things that are not necessarily good for them at the moment.
I'm going to quote one of my favorite authors. I'm not a big reader. I'm getting better at reading thanks to 75 Hard and my buddy Andy and Sal at 75. Frisella, right? That's their name, Andy and Sal.
Yep.
I'm reading more. But Eckhart Tolle, in the middle of his book, he said, "What problem are you having right now?" And every time I ask myself that, regardless of what I'm going through, the answer is always, no problem. I'm not having a problem right now. Anytime I do find myself, stressed, always about something that happened already in the past, something that's going to happen, or something that I'm just stressed about. So I think that's a good little exercise to ask yourself, what problem are you having right now? That answer will always be none. Even when you're in a situation. Oh my God, oh yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I want to say a little more about that. Do you think that it's possible that a person can subconsciously or unconsciously, I hope you got to help me with this. I'm not sure if it's subconscious or unconsciously, because I don't guess you can be unconscious and even do much of anything. But looks like I'm having an issue with my stream. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to keep moving though. Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm convinced that our ego is so strong and so powerful that the idea of peace, even when we have the opportunity to choose it, we kind of overlook it because we want to satisfy our flesh. And I have to, explain what I mean when I say flesh, because I'm from a spiritual or religion or even Christian background. And, the flesh is just another word for, selfishness or ego. And sometimes we want what we want right now. It's kind of childish. I said that in the beginning. It's kind of childish, to want to get what we want and not care about, reality and or the truth. But when we are not at peace, that selfishness is very present. And I'm thinking that, I'm going to be somebody. There are lots of famous people in the world, and I'm not trying to be famous at all, I promise. But I believe people get, I guess, famous, or, they become known for, the work that they do. And for some reason, I just think, what I'm doing is worth something. And I don't want to give up on it right away. I can't imagine I'll be doing this for a long time or forever anyway. But while this is on me, I want to make an impact and bring an awareness to the fact that we do have peace. We just have to choose it. And there are certain steps that we can take to obtain that. So thank you for hanging out with me and sharing these moments with me. If there's anything else you want to say on Peace and Confusion, we've got about 7 people that are logged in and probably 10 more that are sneaking around the corner watching. If you want to say something to them before you go, please by all means do so, because every little bit helps. So I'm going to give you a few moments to go ahead and say something before you go about peace, confusion, and ego.
I honestly don't have anything at the top of my mind right now, but just know that you are worthy and worth being in peace and having peace. So,
okay, I appreciate
be that.
Well, we're friends, and I appreciate your friendship. I always have, and I always will. And I don't think you're just saying that because we're friends. I believe you mean that. And I thank you for saying that. And thank you for the support, even in the future. You know, when people set out to do things, not everybody understands, even myself. I can't say I fully understand everything that I am embarking upon. I have reasons and I have goals, things that I am setting out to do, but I don't understand the fullness. And each day that passes, I'm learning more of why, we're, put in situations and, why things kind of work out, even when we don't understand. So thank you again. You have yourself a good old night now. You hear?
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
It's another edition of Swym, formerly known as Pwym. I'm Travis Bridges, and this is what we're doing on Wednesday nights till further notice, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're out there watching live right now, and or if you're watching later on, maybe a couple days later, I do notice that, people check it out a little later on, even if they just watch for a little while. I just want to say thank you for hanging out. I'm here for something. I'm not here for nothing. I am literally here for something, and it's the belief that we can have peace if we choose peace. And there are steps to resolving issues, and I am writing a book about it. And I guess this is just a warm-up, so to speak, because I'm hoping that, my message will get out there. I believe there's universal principles that we need to consider. There are points of references and even laws that we can filter any kind of disagreement that we may have, particularly with someone else, to reach a resolve. And I guess the biggest issue is being okay with what you discover, because there's information, there's evidence, there's proof that you can investigate to get to the bottom. And being okay with what you find is very, 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 very important. I do have another caller I'm going to get to, and I'm going to call that caller right now and see if I can get them on the line. Hang on for a second. Hey, Christine. Hey, Linda Chambers. Kimberly Covington, thank you. Appreciate you. Winning with Melanie. How you doing?
Hello?
Hey, I'm a little bit early. Are you ready for me?
Yes, sir, I am.
That is awesome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Thank you. How was your day?
It was very good and very prosperous, I must say. Can't complain.
Awesome. That's good. When I started my live stream today, I had a new intro that I'm going to be using. It really does go into quite a bit of detail of explaining what my live stream is about, and I'm here to talk more about that. I already know that you probably didn't watch the beginning, and you probably were not watching when I started, but I'm going to fill you in. Is that okay?
That is perfectly fine. I need to catch up.
Okay. I'm talking about peace and confusion as it relates to our own selfish motives or ego or our own flesh. I am convinced that we are born with peace. Our Creator, from what I understand, is indeed love and is not about confusion. And if we're created in that image, when we come into the world as a newborn baby, we learn how to be aggravated, frustrated, or, how to learn how to hate and dislike and disagree and all that stuff. And we can get back to that. I believe world peace is definitely possible, and it starts in each individual, and then it spreads from there. So if you could, if you don't mind sharing, your thoughts. What are your thoughts on peace and confusion? Give me your definition.
Peace and confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Peace, I definitely agree with, because that's something I would hear my grandfather say. If you can't have peace nowhere else, you should be able to have peace in your home. So that's one place that we were definitely at peace, and we didn't have to worry about anything, stress about anything. So I think it's your decision to know when and where you want to have peace. Some places I think you just can't, it can't be avoided. On the workplace, sometimes you just can't have peace. No matter how hard we try, it's just not going to happen. So I think it's just you have to deal with it, do the best you can with it.
When you say peace in your home, I'm just going to go a little deeper than that. Are you talking about your home, your temple, or your house, your dwelling? What are you talking about?
No, your house, your home, where you dwell, where you live, where you're with your family.
Okay. Doesn't that start with peace within yourself first? Because, it's an individual thing, and then we have to, work with other people, of course. But, and thanks to your grandfather for sharing that with you. But I just went a little step further when you said in your home, your temple, your personal home, your shell, your dwelling. Don't you need to have it inside first?
I believe so. I think that's really what he meant. But as kids, we really, we didn't understand that. But I believe that is really what he was saying. That when you have peace in your home, your own temple, your own body, you should be fine wherever you are. But we as kids, I took it as being in your home, and that's something that I would always try to maintain in my home. No matter what's going on outside, we're in the house, we're good at home. But I think he was actually meaning your personal inside, your temple, your home where God dwells with you. So I believe that's what he was actually saying.
Okay. Well, I'm grateful that he shared that with you, and I'm glad we can discuss it tonight because I think that is indeed where it starts. And if we have peace, where do you think confusion comes from? And why don't we try to put that, like, it's like a fire. When people see a house on fire or a car on fire or, anything that's burning, a fire damages, property. And I
Right.
believe confusion and frustration and, that kind of stuff, it damages the soul. Why don't we put those fires out? What's the deal? Help me out.
I think sometimes, and I'm just speaking for myself, sometimes, when things like that happen and you just can't control it, you just don't know what to do. So you just, it just overwhelms you and you just really don't know how to handle it. So that's how things really can just go beyond your control. And you try to control everything, but you just can't. And you just, it just gets out of control, out of whack, and you just can't bring it back.
Is that your best and final answer?
I want to leave it there, yes. I don't want to go too deep.
So tell me this. How does selfishness and the ego play in confusion?
Well, I feel that when it's your ego, you don't want to be wrong. You don't want to be embarrassing. You feel you have everything under control. You don't want to let anybody down. But at some point, you just can't. You can't. And that's why I think the confusion comes in at when you just can't keep everything under control.
Well, when you use the word can't, I don't like it. Because I believe you can control it. I believe you can do something about it. Why do you think you can't control your own ego? Or why do you think a person can't control, their own ego? Why? When you say you can't, hey, help me out with what you mean.
Well, I think when you don't want to be wrong, you don't want to look bad. Your ego is, that's just you. I don't want to look bad, and you don't want to be out of control, but sometimes things just happen and you just have no control over it. So you can't do anything but just let it be what it is. You know what I mean? If you just don't have the words or you just don't have the means, or it is what it is sometimes.
I don't understand how a person can bring themselves to think that they can look bad. You either are bad or you're not. Looking bad is something that's inside your head. If you're bad, then you're bad. And if you're bad, you might want to know about it and discover that so that you cannot be bad if you don't want to be bad. But if you want to be bad, then by all means, just go ahead and be bad. But how can you look bad? How do you look bad? You either bad or not.
No, I don't think so, because if you're bad, it's like somebody doing something they don't know that they're doing. Like if I'm talking loud to you and I don't realize I'm talking loud to you, I don't know I'm talking loud to you until you bring it to my attention. So that's why I think some people in their ego, they may not be bad. They may think that they're good, everything that they're doing is right. And you may see it as something different. So it's like, well, I think I'm doing okay until you point it out or until somebody else points out that what I'm doing is not right, or that I'm doing something wrong, or I'm doing something bad.
So how open would you be to someone pointing out something if, first of all, you don't think you're doing anything bad, and somebody says, well, maybe that's not cool? How do you determine what's bad? How do we determine what's bad? You answer first, then I'm going to answer.
Okay, so how do I determine something that's bad?
Not
All right,
just
so
you. How do we determine in general what's considered bad? Because bad for some people is not bad for others.
Okay, so cheating on your taxes, that's bad.
Okay.
Some people may not think it's bad. Big businesses don't think that is bad. It's, hey, it's not bad. We're just, filling in the gap. But it's not right to cheat on your taxes. It's not right to cheat on your spouse. So some people think it's okay.
Okay. Let's go ahead and be real for just a quick moment. I don't know who these people are you're talking about, but anybody that I know, I'm not going to say they think it's okay. They know better. How can you be at the age of accountability and think it's okay to cheat on a spouse or to cheat on your taxes? How can you think that? Are you serious when you say that? Or
people
you just
do.
I didn't say people didn't
No,
do
I'm
it.
serious.
No.
Yeah,
no,
I know people that do it.
I know you do,
Okay.
and I'm not talking about people that do it. You're saying people think it's okay. People, you...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, I honestly do. And they really believe that it's okay.
Well, you can believe something and it not be true. What about getting to what's right? I mean, when you say people think, the word think and believe is strong for me. So, you say
Okay.
people think it's right. You can't be intelligent or accountable and think something that you know better about. So do you mean that when you say people think that's right? The people that you just said or the people that do it, do you think they think that's right, or they just want to make themselves believe that it's okay because, it satisfies their feeling or their emotions or their ego?
Exactly. And that's why they feel that what they're doing is okay. As long as it's kept in the dark, it's okay. And they believe that what they're doing is okay.
Okay, well, that's proof that you can believe something and it not be right or true. And I'm just going to leave it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you for supporting me in these early days. I do believe that it's going to get better. I've seen some progress already with what I'm doing. And I'm going to talk with my next caller. I've been taking it easy over the last few weeks of coming on. But I want to get so much more deeper than what I'm doing right now. Right now, I've got like topics, and I'm just kind of talking,
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to do is I really want to kind of sort of go one-on-one with some people who will trust my ability to analyze. Again, I don't claim to be a therapist or a psychologist at
Right.
all. And again, I'm not hoping anyone to ever prove me wrong. But if someone, wants to talk about, what it is I'm doing, I would be open to hearing it. But I'm kind of sort of gearing myself to get some one-on-ones with some people that will trust me enough to share maybe something that's close or even sacred to them that I can analyze and getting deep with that. Because again, we say a lot of things that we feel, we think, and we believe that are really not true. Just like, you were just talking about people who think something and who might believe something. But then when you encounter people who will hold us accountable, we can quickly be brought to a place of reasoning, if we use those filters that I talk about, universal principles, points of reference, and even the law. You can really settle a lot of this thinking, feeling, and believing if you're open to discussing and you are running those filters, as I think I guess it's a type of formula that that's in my mind, spirit, and soul that I'm just trying to bring awareness to. So I've been kind of just having topics and just kind of talking and loosening up. But I'm looking for the day that I will get to do some serious one-on-ones with some people who may be interested in, sharing something, maybe a scenario or maybe even something personal. It's hard to trust people in this day and time. And again, I don't want anybody to trust me with something that they would regret or anything. But it's just communication. It's just talking. And again, when some of my friends will ask me, well, what's the subject going to be about? And I'm like, I'm not sure what the subject's going to be about. It doesn't matter. We can just walk in like right now. I'm talking about a table. We can just start talking about a table. And before you know it, there's so many subjects that, you can talk about, involving a table. But back to my point, I'm going to get into it with my next guest talking about, the direction that I'm going to go into, where I'm planning on, intensifying my conversation and my communication. But I want to tell you, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it, right?
I know you do.
Okay. So listen, we need to catch up, man, for real. We keep saying it, but we don't do it. I'm busy. I've got a lot of stuff going on. But why don't maybe over the weekend, the next few days, you and me just sit down and just talk and just catch up. We go way back like Cadillac.
Yeah.
And there's some things I can share with you that I just can't even share with other people. But I think it's time me and you have one of those conversations. And let's make that happen in the next few days. I'm going to hold you accountable. So if I don't call you, you call me.
I'll definitely call you.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. You have yourself a good night. I love you so much, okay?
Love you too.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Good night.
All right. Mighty Horn Music is live from the Hollywood home studio, away from home. I'm calling it abroad for the time being right now. What I'm going to do is take a little short break. And when I come back, I'm going to get my last caller on the line, and we're going to get deeper into something. So until I get back, hold the spot you got, okay?
Mighty Horn Music. Mighty Horn Music.
As time draws near and you plan your social events, call Mighty Horn Music for a party you and your friends will never forget. From banquets, receptions, family reunions, and church functions to birthday, executive, or private parties, Mighty Horn delivers. Event packages include live musicians, psalmists, comedians, clowns, and a karaoke show that's guaranteed to make you laugh. Mighty Horn Music specializes in providing a variety of music to keep your guests going for hours. Mighty Horn Music. Let us create a custom sound for your special event. From start to finish, Mighty Horn Music will plan your theme, decorate, cater, and entertain your guests with class and style. This year, make your events live with Mighty Horn Music. Call 786-487-7338, 786-487-7338, or log on to mightyhornmusic.com and let's party.
Mighty Horn Music. Smooth jazz, top 40, R&B, inspirationals, and more. Live from the Hollywood home studio. Like, share, subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. Music is the universal tool that soothes the savage beast in everyone for every occasion. It's multi-purposed. Same prescription when you're sad, happy, or even in love. Music will either enhance what's already good or make better what's not as good. So, when you find your source of music, it's like anything else you maintain. If you respect it and treat it well, it will be there when you need it. Well, Mighty Horn Music is that type of place, And Travis Bridges is that type of guy. So let's treat him right. Your love gifts are greatly appreciated. If you like what you hear, see, or feel during this live stream and you want to show off a little, simply follow the donation platforms on the bottom of your screen. Just remember, sharing is caring. It's better to give than to receive. And if you keep more than you need, now that's just plain old greedy. Thanks for tuning in. Now, back to more Mighty Horn music.
Mighty Horn Music, live from the Hollywood Home Studio abroad. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am your host, Travis Bridges, and this is the Pool Party. Welcome to the swimming pool. Swimming, S-W-Y-M. Simply an acronym for Say What You Mean. I am doing my best to bring awareness to what we say, how we say it, what we mean when we say it, and where it all comes from. Okay? Tonight, we're talking about peace and confusion, and I am going to get my final caller on the line, and we are going to get a little deep into that, I think, and I hope, and I believe. So why don't I do that? By chance, my final caller, if this doesn't work, why don't you just dial me back? Because I seem to be having trouble with this line. And if that's the case, then I'm going to just sit tight and wait for a call back. Whoa. See how that works. Try one more time. Don't stop. To ask. Now you find out just to make it last. We got to find a way. Wow. I could hear my program director now talking about dead air. So final caller, can you get on the line and call me back? I'd appreciate it. In the meantime, we're talking about talking. It's important to want to get to the truth of any confusion. By chance, if you are hanging out with a person, or if you're in a group, or if you're married, or, and there are no problems, then by all means, high five yourself. And keep on living, keep on spreading that good love and joy around. But by chance, if you are in some kind of dispute with someone, I think I have. I'm discovering some ways to get to the bottom of some of those things. Break out. Okay. Wow. Okay, here we go. Maybe I'm getting a call this time. Can't answer that. I need you to call the hotline caller, if you'd be so kind. Not this one. Because it won't work. Such precious time just going.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
I'm just going to blame it on the rain and technology because I reached out a couple times and did not get an answer from you.
Please
Uh,
do. Please do. I will
yeah.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. So, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful evening tonight, and I'm doing good.
We only have 12 minutes to really get into it. I think we can do that. What do you think?
I think so as well.
Can you give me your take on confusion and peace?
Sure. For me, peace is acceptance, and confusion is lack of acceptance.
Acceptance
To put it
of
in
what?
simple terms.
Acceptance of what?
Acceptance of what is. Acceptance of the circumstances that are happening. To find that peace within to be able to accept what's happening before me or unfolding before me. I think, that's the only thing we can do sometimes.
So what you're saying is peace is accepting what is, and confusion is not accepting what is.
Exactly.
That simple? That's it?
To me, that's the way I've been able to filter it. I apply it to my own life, and when I don't accept what is, that's when my spirit gets kind of vexed and troubled, and I'm not accepting what's happening, and that brings confusion. And that's when our ego comes in, and we want to try harder and change things and control things. So that whole power and control that we want to keep as human beings to change things or to change the outcome of certain things is what brings confusion. At least that's the way I see it.
Give me one legitimate reason or justification to not accept what is.
Well, injustices.
Okay. I guess an injustice would not necessarily be not accepting something, because I guess if something is just wrong, based on universal principles, points of references, and even the law, which kind of cancels out injustice. I'm looking for another example. I get that. I guess if if someone was, if something happened that was just wrong, and maybe, a hung jury, or maybe, race, back in the days played a part in why people were, dealt with in an unjust manner. I'm just saying, things that are filtered by universal principles, points of references, and the law. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? I kind of sort of made that up. Not literally made it up, but I have my own concoction of what was already established. But
Right.
a universal principle, a point of reference, and a law. Do you understand what I mean? Maybe you've
I
heard me
do.
talk about it. So
I do.
if you can give me a justification or a reason to not accept something that is there a reason or justification to not accept something that is?
Well, I think there are many. I think many reasons, many people do not accept, including myself, do not accept what is because we want to have power and control. We often want to have power and control about how our kids turn out, or how a party turns out, or how the waiter treats me at the restaurant, because, I'm the consumer and I should be treated a certain way. So when we're not treated a certain way, we want to exert that power and that control that, hey, you don't treat me that way. And so, we are not accepting that waitress, I don't know, maybe having a tough day, or may have lost a loved one and is still coming to work. So we want facts often. We want to know if something is not going our way. We want to understand why is it not going our way. We demand almost a reason, and that's where the ego comes in and the power and control. We need to have power and control of a lot of things in our lives. The microwave response. I want it, and I want it now.
Let me ask the question in a different way. Thank you for your response, and I appreciate it, and I totally get it. What is a reason or justification to not accept the truth or something that has been filtered by, I guess, a universal principle, a point of reference, and even the law. If something has been justified by the law, evidence has been presented, and there's a 12 jury that just says, all vote a certain way. Just let me just ask the question directly. What is a justification or reason to not accept the truth?
I don't think there is any. Except being stubborn, maybe being stubborn.
Okay, I think that's what I was asking when I was saying, and I guess I could have been more clear, but I kind of wanted to take this route, to get to the bottom. When I said earlier, give me a reason or justification why not to accept what is. What is,
right.
I guess, is another way of saying the truth, but I didn't say it, and thank you for playing that out with me. So you gave me some answers because I wasn't specific, and again, I'll say thank you. But so there is no justification or reason to not accept the truth, and why?
When you put it that way, because the evidence have been presented, and I will imagine that if the evidence is presented, then it was, beyond beyond any reasonable doubt. And I think the key word is reasonable. So if it's beyond any reasonable doubt, and that's the society that I live in, then that is the truth. And, if I am a reasonable person, then I will have to accept it. I can choose not to, but, being reasonable, I will accept it for what it is. That is the truth.
Okay, so you said, so I said there's no reason or justification. Why would an individual not want to or will be not willing to accept the truth? That's the last question, and I'm going to try to close out.
Because they absolutely need to have power and control about what's happening or unfolding in front of them. That power and control that is part of the ego does not allow them to accept anything that is factual, anything that is real, anything that is true.
Okay. Well, thank you for your response. I appreciate it. I just so happen to agree with you. I think when information, evidence, and conversation has been presented and, you've exhausted, all avenues, to reach the bottom, you have to come to a resolve of some sort. And it's important, the court system always asks, potential jurors, to look at the evidence, to look at the information and not allow their personal, beliefs, thoughts, or feelings to interfere with examining information and evidence and common reasoning as it relates to universal principles, points of references, and or the law. So thank you for that. I have about 4.5 minutes to close out, and I want to talk to you about taking my live stream into a totally different direction. Okay. Hold on a second before you do that. PhD Education 1 says it's okay to not accept the truth if the truth is problematic. So let me just spend just a quick second on that. It's okay to accept the truth if the truth. It's okay to not accept the truth if the truth is problematic. Well, I'm just going to respond to that. Then I'm going to keep moving. The truth is not problematic, and I'm not sure what they mean. And maybe they can come on one day and explain that, and I would be open to that. But there's something about the truth. It's like, it kind of rises to the top. It stands alone. It's transparent. You can see that, you can feel it. And if you are reasonable, you can look at the truth and, Judge Judy has a saying, and I like her a lot. She says, if something doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. But there's ways to examine information, to get to the bottom. So, PhD, I'd like for you to explain that a little more. But the truth, there's no problems in truth. Problems are in confusion. So, yeah, you don't accept confusion, but it's kind of oxymoronish, kind of sort of to say truth and problematic as being, in the same. But anyway, I'm going to move on. I want to say to you that over the last few weeks, I've been kind of getting used to being in front of the mic and in front of the camera and just kind of calling my show Swym Pwym as a spinoff from, my music. And now I'm into not doing as much music because I'm working on my project, and I'm still doing gigs now because COVID, thank God, and knock on wood, is kind of subsiding a little bit, and I'm grateful for that. And people are getting back to work, and so am I. And so I'm not doing as much live stream with my music. But I think I'm going to hold on to this part of what I'm doing in terms of, the talk portion of it. But this is what I want to do. I want to say this before I can go. I'm hoping that I will get guests that will trust me with analyzing, a circumstance or a situation. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist or a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a minister or a preacher of any kind. I'm just a regular guy who has, none of that going for myself. I just believe that I have the ability to analyze based on my ability to reason. And again, I keep saying this. I don't want anyone to prove me wrong, but if anyone has anything to say about that, and I can only imagine that a person who spent thousands of dollars on a degree would say, well, you're not qualified. And I'm not claiming to be qualified. I'm just kind of listening, and I will be okay having, a therapist or a professional to sit in and monitor. But I believe I have the ability to do that. And I'm hoping that I will be able to analyze circumstances and situations, and maybe even something personal with someone who will trust me to be able to listen, hear, pay attention, ask questions, and get to the bottom of anything that may be of confusion of any kind. So that's where I want to go. That's the direction I'm going in, and that's the kind of guest that I'm going to be looking for in the future. But, you've been wonderful over the past few weeks, and I just want to personally thank you. And until I do get some of those special guests on, will you continue to be with me?
Absolutely. I'm very, very grateful to have this platform. I think, you're onto something, and, we let me just say this. I think one of the reasons, and not the whole reason, but one of the reasons why we have so many therapists and life coaches and so on and so forth that we need to pay to actually get some kind of feedback is because we've strayed away from the strong family bonds as well as friendship. Therapists don't solve anything for clients. Therapists simply listen with an empathic approach. For the most part, we all have our own answers within us. We just don't have anybody with the patience and the love and the kindness and the empathy to sit down and listen. So what you're offering to bring to the table is an approach that it's almost nature, and there's something very pure about that. So I commend you on your work. And 1 week at a time, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I'm going to take that for what it's worth. I do believe I have compassion, and I do have the ability to be empathetic to, a situation, and I'm just going to keep going with it until I can't go anymore. I believe I'm going to get somewhere much, deeper than I can even imagine right now. I believe I'm on to something. I'm not sure what it is. I'm just going to keep going. And I just want to thank you for your support over the past few weeks. And I hope to chat with you again. Just like my other friends, I think we need to catch up. Can we schedule some time for us to sit down and just really do what we call shed a little bit? Go deep, off the record.
I think we should.
Okay, let's do that. Anyway, I'm going to take back my minute and a half that I lost with the power going out, and I'm going to go ahead and leave. Until next time, you take care of yourself. We'll chat soon, okay?
Thank you. Please.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
have a good night. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me. That's going to do it for another edition of Swym. It's not Swym Pwym anymore. It's just Swym. Say what you mean as you make your way through the week. Find somebody that you need to say I love you to, and don't just say it, but show it to them, okay? And remember to think before you speak. Listen to what you're hearing. Listen to what a person is meaning. Examine information, evidence, and don't be so quick to think somebody's trying to lie, cheat, or steal unless that's the way you are. Be okay with accepting what is, okay? Until the next time, take care of yourself. Have yourself a good night, okay? Bye.